Alrighty, hello everyone, busygamerdad back again, going to be continuing our 7th Saga playthrough, but I got a bit of a weird thing going on right now. I am doing some fun learning at this point. Unfortunately, the situation is that I played this episode and I recorded it, obviously, and all of a sudden I went to go edit it and the audio for me talking wasn't there. So you'll see me leave the town, you'll see me go around, do the things. I have myself over my original video capture of it, or camera capture of it, and in the beginning of the episode, I'm talking about, this is basically a reaction video, by the way. This just dawned on me. This is basically a reaction video, but a reaction to myself, and I don't like reaction videos, but rather than having to re-record everything, which is what I don't want to do, I want to show you the footage that I had and, talk with you about what we went through. Anyways, we're making our way to the northeast out of this city. I did look up the direction online, or I didn't know how far away it is or anything like that. We're going to Gorfin Castle. If you remember Gorfin Castle, that's where we got sent back into the past from Gorcia when he broke the runes and sent us this way. And so we'll be interesting to see how that kind of shapes the narrative and what happens inside the castle. I had no idea what to expect inside the castle. I'm going to kind of leave that for as we get across the field of combat to it. I hoped that the monsters would stay the same as we were going up to the northeast, but that's not the case. We actually run into quite a few different monsters, especially inside Gorfin Castle as well. At the beginning of the episode, and I'm doing this as a post-narrative coverage. I talked about we are 64 hours. We played this game for 64 hours. That's a long time to play this game. If you have been watching this series the entire time, thank you. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to watch this series with me. This game, 7 Saga, is a game that I had on my bucket list for the longest time because as growing up, when this game first came out, I was young and it was one of the first RPGs that we ever played on our Super Nintendo system. It was a lot of fun. It was different because you could be different characters and that meant different play styles. The monsters were not your normal monster types. There was, dragons and things like that, but there was also some weird snake monsters and demons and things like that that made the game feel very unique and feel very fun and fresh and new. Not that, there wasn't that in the gaming scene at that time, but it definitely was something that we in the early days of video gaming back in my day didn't expect and didn't know what to expect. But there was still that tried and true mythological creatures set that you were looking for. Your goblins, your minotaurs, your dragons, your unicorns, and things like that. But this game didn't have that. This game took the idea of those monsters in a different direction, and it stuck with me. I like the monster designs quite a bit, actually. They're very fun. Now, as we're going up to the northeast inside the game's, we'll say direction for the finale, we run into these monsters, these stone imps that we ran into in Sora's cave, and they're super annoying to deal with. So if you have instant death spells, you're really probably going to be wanting to lean on them if you have the ability to cast those at disposal, because the stone imps or stone demons and other creatures like the killer knights, they revive or have the chance to revive, and when you revive in combat, it revives the character that you revive back to full health. It's not a Final Fantasy kind of heal where they heal up 10 20 HP or something like that. No, they actually get fully revived. It's kind of annoying. But you don't want to run away from the combat because those precious levels, those 1 or 2 levels, are really going to make the difference between your character succeeding and failing. So we're coming up onto the castle. I see it on the map there. I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee. But yeah, we don't want to be running from combat. We don't want to be running from encounters. We want to be getting as much experience as we can because those last 1 or 2 levels really will mean success or failure. And this game, it did not hold your hand in that regard. It punished you. If you were under-leveled, you felt it. You really felt it in this game. And you needed to be cognizant that there might be some times where you just gotta, instead of advancing the story, you just sit and quest and cast your spells, instant death spells, until you ran out of mana and the monsters sent you back to town, or what have you. But yeah, there's also people who have done solo mission playthroughs where they don't take on a companion in the quest. You can only have one companion. That's a, kind of like I call it a hard mode situation. Not a try hard, but a hard mode situation. I liked having Lux with us the whole time. Just before we got thrown into the past, I think we had the chance to get Camille, the human warrior, if I remember correctly. If you remember, if you happen to see that episode, let me know. It was just before we got flung into the past, and Camille would have been a nice addition. Camille is a very solid attacker, and he's got some really good spells as well. Inside the castle, we fight these blue flames. They're not something I expected to see again, but they look just horrifying. They look almost like a Slenderman kind of thing, or like a I don't know, just something out of like 28 Days Later. They're just kind of terrifying, but they're called F Nights, so it's like Freddy Nights, like Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that. Fright Nights, that's what I call them as well. Just going around and doing it. So in this castle, I did not know what else to expect with those monsters of that level. So I'm trying to keep myself as topped off as possible, trying to heal up as much as I can, trying to work through that. And then we run into this Tejuin, and he's pretty beat up. And he tells us that the structure is confusing and that it doesn't make sense to them. And already I can see, as we loop into these castle keeps or towers, they are infinite. There's an infinite loop to these paths, so we have to be very careful so we don't lose our way. So I take a moment here, and I'm making sure that I'm going to use this power seed that I just picked up. Thankfully, it's not a monster in a box. And I'll use that on Lux. Power up by 3 is really good, and it looks like these we'll call those castle keeps, and we'll call the outer rooms the castle towers. Leave me to mark the second floor, then look for the stairs to the next floor. So, always looking for up. That's really what we're looking for. It's not necessarily an infinite loop, but there is only one path up. So we have to find that. And there's, I don't know how many paths there are in this castle, or how many floors there are in the castle. So we got to make the best of the situation and try and figure out what we can do to navigate inside here. And I also don't know what kind of other final power-ups we might be leaving on the table. In the guide, I only looked for the castle. I didn't look for the directions inside the castle or anything like that. Again, that guide I've only been using in this playthrough as a post you've been to an area, maybe go back and get the things that you might have missed review tool. If I were to ever play this again offline, I would certainly use it. I loved growing up working with my brothers and doing that. So from there, we just kind of move on and we see what's inside these other castle keeps, and it's like, yep, more of the same, just blank rooms or monster closets, as it were. We keep on trying to find the right path up, and that's a path down. And so now I'm looking to try and figure out, and that one Tejuin isn't there anymore, and we're back on the first floor. So it's like, wait, what? What just happened? So we're going back the way we came, go this up level right here. I don't know if this is just an effect of Gorsia or what. It's not really explained, and it's not really in the narrative of the game, as it were, to let the player know why there's an infinite dungeon. Suffice to say that you just got to deal with it. And then now this is our first 3-tile encounter, and it's kind of intimidating and kind of scary, and I don't like it, and I'm going to use Vacuum 2. I'm just going to use my instant death spells. We got one of them. 1 out of 3. That's great. That's fine. That's just easy damage to take care of there. And then we're going to do a defense, and then we're going to do another magic. We're going to do another Vacuum 2. Hopefully we get them both. And if not, then that's going to suck. I apologize if this Vacuum 2 sets your dogs off. It sets my older brother's dogs off when he was watching the video. He told me about it. Alright, so we just got the one to deal with, and it looks like they're not reviving, which is actually a blessing. It really is. I'm glad that the spells are only doing a little bit of damage to Asuna. And yeah, Lux always been susceptible to the fire attacks and the magic attacks. So, again, it's one of those things you just got to deal with. Asuna will not be attacking because Asuna is now dead. Asuna just got in one shot. I don't know what... should I... finish the fight. Yep, Lux gets all that experience. That's fine. He just gets all the experience. It's okay. And then we'll revive out of combat. We have plenty of curatives for that, but now I know that I need to be very, very careful with those F Knights, because that's terrible. And then Lux just kind of slides back. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna top people off. We're gonna make sure that we are keeping a pretty wide margin of safety here, getting some more MP and getting some more curative out there, just because I don't want to deal with this. Okay, we're gonna be going through, doing that, just burning through those magic herb ones, and keep on going. I don't know. Do I want to revive Lux? I guess I don't. Not revive. I'm sorry. Heal up Lux. I'll leave it. So one of the things that you can do inside here, and it makes sense, is those rooms you can use to avoid combat. The castle keeps and the castle towers, you can duck inside them and avoid combat very easily, actually. Okay, so now we're on the 3rd floor. I'm going to say we're on the... No. We were in the 1st floor. We came up. We saw the Techuan on the 2nd floor. And then... Yeah. So where are we going now? We're just going to check... I guess I'll go down and check. I'll just make a clockwise motion around the room. Another 2-tile monster fight, and we're going to try and run. And that guy ran. That's fine. He ran away from us trying to run away. Like we intimidated him. Like, oh, they're so strong they don't want to kill us? I don't think she... Yeah, so again, only 1 damage. But I'm curious. Like, he did MP Catcher. I wonder if we could do MP Catcher. I wonder... Yeah, we're... Okay, even criticals aren't doing damage to him from a double attack. So, I don't know. Maybe we should... Yeah, let's do MP Catcher. Let's see what happens. Oh, nice. Okay, so it did work, and we got 40 MP for 8, so that's 38 net. So I'm going to take care of that. And then even without defending and attacking, it seems like... And then he's got 32, so I'm assuming that he's out of MP now. So, yeah, defend. Just because I am afraid that Asuna will be one-shot if I don't defend. Oh my god, 122 Lux. And he's my physical powerhouse. So he shouldn't be taking that much damage yet. He does. Yet he does. Alright, great. Awesome. Cool. Well, keep on going. And he's dead. Never mind. I don't want to waste a spell on him, but I'm going to have to. And then Asuna gets all this experience. Okay, that's fine. 1600. Okay. G Knights, Gold Knights. I'm going to say Gold Knights. Alright, and then we just use the magic water, and that'll heal him back up to full. Good. Great. Awesome. So we're going to go down. So yeah, you can duck in these rooms and try and avoid combat as much as possible, and that actually might be the better play. Alright, so we make it up to the 4th floor. I guess we'll say this is called the 4th floor. And then I'm just going to go make my way around. I guess I could have ducked in that room, and I didn't. That's silly on me. Alright, so... Oh, another 3-tile. That's not good. Vacuum 2. Kill them all. Instantly. Good. Yay. Winner, chicken dinner. Yay. So I know what's going to happen. Again, I know. This is me reacting to the video, re-recording my audio with the camera so that you guys can, get some semblance of my thought process through things. I'm going to make my way across here. I think this is the right way to go. It is not. All right, fine, fair enough. I went for the furthest door first. And did that just put me on the 1st floor again? That's what I'm thinking right now, and I don't know, and I'm getting confused. I'm getting in my own headspace. Another 3-tile, and then we're going to cast Vacuum 2, and we're going to hope for the best. Do we get them all? Yay! Good stuff. Okay. Nice, and then we got to level up. Again, those last level ups, they're not anything that you should be, missing. You shouldn't be trying to get rid of them. You should be definitely trying to work your way to getting those last level ups. Those will be super helpful for you. So, yeah, I think that in the end, if you were to play this, so you see here that I'm at level 59. I didn't even expect to get to past level 50. I thought 50 was the cap inside this game. I had no clue. And the big thing for us here is trying to figure out if level 50 or 59 is going to be enough for us to beat the game. Yep, 6 for HP, and then 6 for MP, 2 for power, guard, magic, and speed. Speed is 5. Alright, well, she's a fast elf, and then Lux gains his level up, 38, 7 HP, that's fine. Power, guard, cool, awesome. Speed 4, okay, I'll take it, because I can't change it anyways. It's not like anything I can do would matter about it. Alright, and so from there, we're going to make our way up the staircase. We're going to go through what we can go through right there. Alright, cool. Yep, and then we're going to go in here, just check it out, see if there's anything in there. And again, yeah, use the rooms to duck combat. Definitely use the rooms to duck combat. I just was curious to see if there's any loot, and then it looks like we actually found, inadvertently, the way we should go. Now, don't do what I did, kids. When I'm through here, like we take out this guy, we fight him. He's gonna the Five Nights at Freddy weird guy. When we're through with this fight, I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, it's just gonna be a long corridor, and then we're gonna have to go up the stairs and fight the boss. We have to go and talk to him first. No, the game didn't do that. The game did not do that at all. Yeah, I underestimated you, foolish mortal, but now I will stop you forever. Rawr, 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 rawr. You should have stayed in the future. If you had, you would have known me there as the one power on this planet. Ha 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 ha. Go to the dark world. Alright, well, and fight. And now we're really going to fight him. And we can't see him. We've fought somebody like this before. Well, we fought him in the future just like this before, when he had limited power. And so the runes that we picked up, all 7 of them, they've changed their form. They are no longer buffs for us, they're debuffs for him. So we have a specific order that we should be using them in. And one of the people left a comment on that order for me to use, and in the guide there's an order listed there as well. And so we kind of go through the sequence of events, and the wizard rune is used to reveal him so that you can actually fight him, because if you remember before, when we got sent back to the past, we got a we had to get the wizard rune from him, and then from there what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be using my noodle here and trying to get ourselves set up to figure out what the best place is. So he doing the attack he didn't do that much damage, so I'm not super worried about him, but I am still worried about him, you know. So I want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to ensure that we are the best way possible able to defeat him. So I'm just going to run through the list of using the runes that I did. So I think it's like wizard, and then it was light, and all of these, they don't say what they do, but they like have his attack power, they have his speed, they have his life, they have his magic defense, they have his physical defense. So you want to make sure that you're doing those in the right order, because I assume that if you don't do them in the right order, you're going to die. You're going to have a bad time. Specifically using the wizard rune first, and then using the, I believe it's the water rune, or is it maybe the wind rune that like cuts his life in half? That one together, those two are the ones that you really should be using. They really are important for you to do. And so there's that one. And then we do, or is it the star rune? Maybe it's the water rune. The water rune, instead of healing, takes off his life. Yep, the water rune, instead of healing us, takes off his life. And then, yep, Lux takes a big hit there. And so now it's like, all right, let me just finish doing the things that I need to do. I don't know if you can use the water rune on repeat. I didn't try. I just figured I'd do what I needed to. And now his physical attack actually looks pretty awesome, where he flexes that arm and he does like this dice and slice kind of thing. So not taking any chances. I use my curatives and I take focus to have a healing round, as it were. You know, doing the full heals as I can on Lux, and then getting some MP back for Asuna. Because now we've used all the runes at least once, and so we can focus on actually trying to damage him. But first I want to, like I said, make myself in a good position, get myself in a good position. So I actually use Potion 3 and a Potion 2, and then I use bottle of, I think it's a bottle of agility. Let's see, let's use the bottle of agility first. Yeah. I'm saying this as if I'm playing it. Where, yeah, we use the bottle of agility first, and then we use the bottle of protect and the bottle of power on Lux. And then we use the bottle of agility and the bottle of protect on Asuna. So I go through and I handle that business right there just to make sure that we are as strong as we can possibly be to fight him. So there's the bottle of agility getting used, and then there's on Asuna, we're going to use that as well. Even though Asuna is the fastest character in the entire game. Yep, and there's that right there. Good dodging. I don't know how much damage that's ultimately going to do until, I would like to not find out before I have the bottle of agility on, or bottle of protect on, so that's kind of why I'm doing that, so that I can get the bottle of protect on everybody, bottle of agility first, because if you don't have to mitigate damage, you dodge. I mean, that's a staple, right? That is a staple. Alright, so then we go through that, and then we do the bottle of power. We use that on Lux so that he can get into his modes of combat. And then I'm going to have him use a bottle of protection. You can get these at the airship, the bottle of protect and agility, I believe, specifically from the airship before you go up here. And I do highly recommend that before you come into this place, you go down there, you spend your money, and you get all the curatives and things like that you can possibly get. Alright, so from here, we, do our best to buff up, as it were. And we're going to be doing our healing, and the magic attacks don't do as much to Asuna as they do to Lux, as you've seen. It doesn't matter which kind it is, fire or ice, but now we just lean into attacking him and taking his life down as much as we can, and it looks like it's pretty good. But then he does vacuum too. In the airship, you have the ability to buy the harps. Do it. 100% do it. Because there is no more of a bummer than when you played this game and you run into that ability and there's no counterplay. You die instantly. That's what it is. It's an instant death spell. And it can take out both you and your companion, or just you. So, yeah, you need to be very careful about that. And you need to be very aware that that's the situation that you can run into. So if you're not paying attention to the what is the word I'm looking for? If you're not paying attention to the possibility of dying like that, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a bad time. So we cast our spells, we do our things, and we're chunking him pretty good, actually. We're chunking him pretty good. And I think that's attributed to the fact that because of our 64 hours of playing this game, 68 hours of playing this game, we've spent probably, I would say, a third of that. That's a bit dramatic. Maybe a quarter of that. So we'll say 15 hours of that, or 17 hours of that, was spent grinding. And just going into the place at the time where we needed to be and casting our instant death spells, ducking back into town, healing, or getting sent back to town because we ran out of MP. And that's all we did. And that was the best way for us to do the things, to get into the fight. So again, we're just going to be healing up. We're going to be, be cautious is all I can simply say. Anything about this game that teaches the player, it is, you are not ever God mode. You're just not until you hit a certain threshold, until you hit a certain point in the game. You're just not. And I know that's like, well, yeah, that's what all God modes are. It's like, yeah, I understand what I'm saying. But the reality of what I'm saying is those instant death spells do not care. They will just wipe you out. Doesn't matter what level you are. It's still a chance that you could get one shot and get got from them. You're more resistant as your higher levels, etc. But it's highly unlikely that you will be immune to things. Alright, so how much does that do? That didn't do that much, and I think that's because we finally got the bottle of protect up. So I'm glad that worked out. And now you're just being cautious. We're just going to be cautious. We're just going to heal up, make sure that, it's not like we're going to have another fight after this, knowing that this is the last boss, Gorcia here. And then we're going to cast our ice too, and then I think this will be the last round. I can't remember, because the bar glitched out, and I think he's got one more attack, and then Lux comes in and just slams him. I think that's what ends up happening. Yeah, okay, so we do ice 2, and then he's super low, and then Lux comes in and just hammer times, fist to face. He cast punch. He cast punch. And there it is. And that's it. 7 Saga's beaten. At that point, we're in the throne room. I'll make you pay for this, Asuna. If I go down, I'll take you with me. And he instant kills us. You'll never win. I'll be back. Sorrow. You shall meet. We shall meet again. So it's a bit abrupt, but Sorrow, or Garcia kills us instantly. But then this is Sorrow talking. Asuna, I'm grateful that you fulfilled my wishes. You've saved the people of this world. Garcia has destroyed your flesh, but I will not let you die. I will give you my flesh, and you will be reborn as my descendant. So because of that, we are saved by Sora, and we are reborn. Our soul is put back into a vessel, a body, or something like that, and sent into the future, or maybe in the past, I don't know. How extraordinary. A child is appearing in the light. Sorrow is sending us his child. We shall name him Lamel. So it is our responsibility to record the history of these fights in the stone tablet, so that this child will not succumb to the dark power when it reappears in the future. So it's not like super defined right there, but we are now Lamel. The hero gets turned into Lamel, and we're sent into some chapel, citadel, place of worship for the world, and reincarnated. And then the end game credits start, and it shows you the apprentices if you were fighting them, not as if you were playing them. So that's Camille, the human warrior. The big thing about this game that drew a lot of attention from me and my brother specifically was the fact that you could be the archetype of character that you wanted to be. Camille was the human fighter, but he did have some magic. He had fire magic and buff magic. I think he got even a revive at some point. And then you had Olvin, the dwarf warrior. Super strong, but one of the slower characters, but he was a physical powerhouse that you could rely on for steady attacks and defense. He also got magic. I don't think any character didn't get magic. I think all the characters got some form of magical power. Whether or not it was their, call it finesse or forte, it was their supplemental skills. Now, in cases like Asuna, Velsu, and, yep, there's Asuna right there, and Legis, they were the casters of the group. You know, Legis was the dark caster, Velsu was the light caster, and Asuna was the mix of them both. So, I played Legis a little bit, but I also played Velsu a little bit, and I remember Velsu being really hard to play if you didn't have the right companion, because he only got one attack spell, and it was Ice 1. There's Wilmy. Wilmy is the strongest physical attacker in the game. He would get AoE attacks like Lux would, though, and some magic attacks, like Lux would, where he had like fire-based attacks, and Lux had more electric-based attacks, is what I'll call it, or energy-based attacks, being a Techuan. So you just kind of had to play around that, where he would get Fire 1, 2, and I think he got Firebird is the name of the spell for the AoE attack. And then there's Lux if we actually fought Lux, which is honestly, Lux is kind of intimidating. Lux looks like a Terminator from X-Men, and he could just one-shot you, absolutely just destroy you physically. If you were not prepared for that punch, you would just get wrecked. So I'm really glad that I took him off the table as an rival, and took him as a companion. I know that we had to fight Legis a bunch, and we actually had to fight Velsu a bunch too. And that's Velsu's character right there, the white caster, or white mage, as it were. And while he excels mostly in healing magic and things like that, he can keep himself alive a lot longer than we are able to in like extended fights. But then eventually, like in any of the rival fights, if you're going up against the casters, you just bleed out their mana, and then when they're doing physical attacks only, that's when you're like, okay, cool, I can be less conservative and start, being more forceful with the attacks. And then this is Legis, the demon. He's not a bad attacker either. He's not a bad physical attacker either. He would get the same or similar weapons as Camille would. But 1992, 1993, that's when this game came out in the United States, and I was 10 years old when we played this game. That's it. The game ends right here, and I mean, I can't thank you enough for coming on this journey with me. I know this is a little bit weird as the last episode. It's very disjointed, but that's because the audio from my mic didn't record, and I'm just trying to do this kind of reaction commentary situation here to cover it up. But this was Busy Gamer Dad. Thank you again so much for coming out on this journey with me. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you in our next long play. I will have a post on our Discord for a poll on what game we should play next, and I hope to see you there. I will have that link in the YouTube descriptions. Later.